Welcome to the latest episode. This one is about slash chords, and basically what I think is the key to many classic songs. I'll be honest with you, when I was trying to figure out the pattern of these songs, I knew it in my head, but I really didn't know what the technique was called, and finally found out it's called slash chords. 30 years later, finally have a name for it. But it's a unique way that chords descend. So I just played Needle and Damage Done. And it creates a predictable flow to the bass line. Again, you know, with the idea of a walking bass line for acoustic guitar, you're strumming a pattern, but you're creating a bass line that you're doing as you strum. And it really drives the song. Again, a lot of the singer-songwriter songs of the 60s and 70s, especially if they were played solo, would allow, you know, a single person with an acoustic guitar to really drive a more multi-dimensional song that has, you know, creates a lot of interest. So these type of songs with the particular descending bass line, either from starting at D or starting at C, are used in many, many songs, and for me, some of the most fun songs to play on the guitar. So one of my favorite examples of that is Landslide. Took my love, took her down, climbed the mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in a snow-covered hill. Landslide brought it down. So you can see it actually creates a looping pattern. And just to reiterate what a slash chord is when I start at C, instead of going to a G, it's actually a G over B. So the slash is indicating what the bass note is. So I go descending to G over B, and you can probably hear Kansas. But this way, it's actually creating a looping pattern. I love also how they make that little time pause at the very end of the verse. Landslide, just an amazing song, great example of this type of slash chord method. And another one where you'll see it a lot, a little different descent, is like Carolina in My Mind at the end. James Taylor uses it all the time. In my mind, south, say nice things about me, 'cause I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. So again, these sort of walking, descending things are a great thing to practice. As you start to figure out all the chords, you can start to then make it a little more dimensional, learn some of these songs that are really fun to play, really fun for people to listen to. Two more of my favorite songs, and frankly, what I think are some of the best examples of this, are two classics, one from the Beatles and one from Blind Faith. They're in drop D, so they're a little different. They're starting on, here Blind Faith starts on C, so. So there, first of all, I mean, Steve Winwood, I think he was probably 16 or 17 when he played this with Eric Clapton and Blind Faith. I mean, amazing song. Some of these are so simple, and that's why I really love to highlight them, is because it's not intricate, it's not technically difficult. It's just important to just get the flow down, and you end up having a very aesthetically pleasing song. Also, with the singing, the reason I'm actually singing some of these parts is that as you're doing the bass line, you have a singer over top of it that actually can go in and around the mode, which is the flow of the notes, and it allows there to be what's called resolution. So it creates different dissonances and different sounds that as you get back to the beginning of the loop, it actually resolves the phrasing and the sound that the song is creating, and for the listener it becomes very aesthetically pleasing. So these are just some classic examples. The final one, before I get into the final one, I'll also say, if you are practicing, a good way to make this really sound good is to practice actually accentuating the bass note and then lightly strumming. So if I were playing this more as a strum, I would actually accentuate. So good thing to practice if you're a beginning guitarist. Becomes a technique that can use over and over again no matter what chords you're playing. Finally, one of my all-time favorite illustrations of this sort of descending pattern is Dear Prudence by the Beatles. If you want to hear a really fun version of it, Jerry Garcia does another great version of this. But it also has a great lead-in, so I'll just play that. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, it's a brand new day. Sun is up and the sky is blue. It's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Have a happy 4th of July, and thanks again for listening. See you next week.